meeting to order. Thank you for joining us doing our weekly hybrid MLS breakfast meeting. My name is Olivia Anderson, and Rosa Santibanez and myself are your program chairs for the month of August. A little bit about me, I love the computers. My daughters say, had they invented this when I was 11, I'd be a hacker. I have no doubt. I can't believe how much I love computers and learning about them and doing everything. So that's a little bit about me. All right, so I'm gonna invite us to stand up, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Charlotte will lead us.
Everyone, please place your hand on your heart, face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God.
There. And now we have an inspirational quote from Pearl Wu. Pearl Wu is one of our newest members. So our numbers are going up. You want to welcome her?
Thank you, everyone. Okay, so inspirational quote of today is same boiling water that softens the potato, hardens the egg. So it's about what you're made of, not the circumstances. Thank you.
All right, if you are a member and would like to make an announcement, please fill out an announcement form located to my left. Return the form to the left. Thank you. A few housekeeping tips. All participants on Zoom will be muted upon entry to the MLS breakfast meeting. And should you have a question or a comment, please remember to enter it into the chat box. Please remember to join us weekly as we will have our hybrid MLS breakfast meeting every Thursday, 9 a.m. As always, the meeting is being recorded and will be made available on YouTube, Westside Gable Valley Realtors. Please remember to follow Westside Gable Valley Realtors social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also watch all of our pre-recorded videos on YouTube. Join our text message group. For updates, text Westside Gable Valley Realtors to the number 888-301-2201. Today's agenda consists of our affiliate spotlight, Chris Hahn, Guild Mortgage, our guest speaker, Jared Duke, Business Development Manager and Director of Educational Outreach, Optimum Seismic, and our special guest is Yvonne Yu, candidate for California State Senate, 25th District. We really welcome you. Just a reminder that to be eligible for today's drawing, you must be a Westside Gable Valley Realtor member, and you have to be here in person at the association. We'll be having an attendance drawing as well, an Amazon gift card drawing, and we're going to have the 50-50 raffle. Today, our affiliate spotlight will be brought to you by the affiliate committee. Chair is Lena Sankari of U.S. Bank and Vice Chair Teresa Wen of Loan Direct. And now we have Chris. All right, Chris.
Thank you guys so much. You're probably sick of seeing this thing. I do it like every year, it feels like, but hopefully there'll be some people who haven't seen it yet. So go to the first slide. This is actually my first affiliate spotlight as an employee of Guild Mortgage. I've been there like since the beginning of this year. Prior to that, I was 18 years at GEM. So this is truly the first one with Guild. So yeah, Guild Mortgage is a great company. It's been around since 1960, so well over 60 years. It's one of the largest companies in the country. One of the largest first-time buyer specialty companies as well. We have these are just two flyers that showing some of the things we do, but we have a great pre-approval process that fully gets it underwritten so that if you have your file and your client ready to go, we can do a 17-day close pretty easily. So we try and get them pre-approved up front. This is my family. The two folks in the middle created me. You can probably see a mix of me in both of them. Unfortunately, they both have gone on to a better place than here. My mom just a couple months ago, so it's still really sad for me, but great parents. My dad was Swedish, German background, but family's been in the US since 1700s, I think. My mom was born in Japan. My dad met her during the Korean War. And there's a beautiful story all about that, but that takes too much time. So, but great family, great parents. They were just awesome. And I have a brother and a sister. I'm the middle trouble child. So let's see there in a couple of those pictures. Next slide. That's of course where I went to school, like a few other people here, Olivia, Jam, others, great college. Can't say enough. I got to go there for free. I have to mention that my dad was a professor there for 45 years, teaching medicine. So it's a sweet deal. Next slide. That's my son in all those pictures. Baby up there with my mom, little karate outfit. Then him when he had with his daughter there in the top right. And his girlfriend, and they got engaged and married this year. So just a couple months ago. So that was totally awesome. And they got married in Vegas and eloped. So there was no expenses out of my pocket. It was so beautiful. I loved it. It was great. Later they're going to do something, but for now they just wanted to be married. So it was kind of nice. This is my granddaughter. That's her right now in that middle picture. Beautiful. It scares the heck out of me that she's in high school and in this day and age, but she's awesome. Next one. That's my wife. We've been together now, married 22 years, together 24. Second marriage, so not my son's mom. We have no kids together, but a furry one. And we had a couple furry ones, now down to one. Yeah, there's my child right there, Kaya. She's beautiful, sweetest German Shepherd in the world. She just loves people. And so whenever we walk around the neighborhood, she just has to wait for everyone to pet her. So she loves it. This is my favorite thing to do in life is surfing. And I had stopped for over 30 years. I used to surf as a kid. And then I decided to take it up again at the age of 51, 52. So it took a couple of years to really get back into shape and be able to do it again. But I just can't get enough of it. I go at least once a week all year long. I was going 2 times a week all last year, but that was starting to get on my wife's nerves. So I had to cut that back. That's where I go most of the time. That's me surfing at Seal Beach, which is just the closest one. I just love it. Being in the ocean just frees up your mind. Every stress of the week just awesome. That's just my surfing. It's a watch that I have that shows how many waves you caught. So it says 13. I caught 13 that day. That bottom right corner, just to show you all those squiggles, that's paddling. That shows the path that I paddled that day. So you paddle like 3 miles when you surf, probably each time if you're out there for a couple hours. So it's a great workout. But yeah, that's what I did that day.
What's the red one?
The red one is your longest ride for the day, I guess. Yeah. The best ride, I think. Next slide. So these are seashells that I pick up on the beach at Seal Beach, and I love picking up seashells, but the next picture, I don't like picking up this stuff. This was after one of the winter storms, and this was just within like a 10-foot area, trash on the beach. So whenever you don't have to use single-use plastics, I'm just totally against them now. I used to drink from the water bottles every day, and I've probably put so many into the landfills, but I use that drinking bottle now, and I just have a filtered water sink, and it's the way to go. And recycle, but I hear the bottles don't really truly get recycled too much, so all the plastic stuff. So that's my public service announcement. Thank you guys so much, and I appreciate the time, and I love all you guys very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. You really sure don't. Sorry about your mom. I'm glad you have wonderful parents. That surfing, I didn't know. I mean, the diagrams on surfing, I'm so shocked. All right, I trust that you do your job the same way. Excellent. All right, we will now have our affiliate introductions. All paid affiliates present today. Line up at the front, please. No promotions or announcements. This is the morning greeting only. We'll begin with the affiliates that are in person. And don't forget at the end to walk up to the right.
All right, I'm going to start this parade off. Brandon Savransky with First American Natural Hazard Disclosures. Have a fantastic day.
Good morning, Angie Tang, First American Title. Happy Thursday, Venus and Carrie from USA Home Mortgage.
Morning, everybody. Oriana Chan with Prime Lending.
Good morning, everyone. Sage Gomez with My NHD. Good morning, everyone. John Wax with Snap NHD for all your energy tax environmental needs. Welcome to the newcomers. Have a wonderful day.
Good morning, this is another John. I'm with Optimum. Have a great day. Good morning, my name is Cosmo Sanchez and I am a mortgage lender with you AIM Funding. Thank you.
Good morning, Jeff Berg with Western Rooter Plumbing.
Good morning, my name is Sam Yu and I'm with Primerica Mortgage.
Good morning, I'm Lina Chu from Glendale Sestra. Have a wonderful day.
Good morning, everyone. Sue Chong with the Casa Management for all your short-term rental needs.
Good morning, everyone. Alba Moy from Moyes Realtors. Have a wonderful day.
Me again, Chris Hahn, Guild Mortgage. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Good morning to everyone here and all of those on Zoom. I'm Lucia Tam representing CarePA, Chinese American Real Estate Professionals Association. Have a great week.
Good morning, everyone. Derek Talbert, Bird's Eye Management Services. Have a great day.
Good morning, everyone. Jacqueline Chu from Champion Escrow.
Good morning, David Tran with Home Guard Home Warranty. Just want to remind you, we have a silent auction on the other side. Thank you.
Good morning, Bob Chu, Champion Escrow.
And Mark, we're here in person for your property insurance needs, still offering standard carriers.
Thank you. Next, we want to welcome here a little bit from our affiliates who are joining us online. First, we have Judy Chow, AAA Capital Investments.
Okay, thank you for muting me. This is Judy, Senior Loan Officer. Have a great week. Thank you.
Sandy Franco, First American Home Warranty.
Good morning, everyone. Sandy Franco, First American Home Warranty.
Thank you, Sandy. John Wax.
I did it already. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, the West San Gabriel Valley Association is doing a silent auction each week. Please visit the silent auction table to bid on the items. We have a battery operated lights that are being auctioned silently for those of you that are interested. I recommend that you buy some tickets. We're happy to include our open pitching to our hybrid MLS breakfast meeting. Reminder, if you'd like to pitch your listing, you must go to www.wsgvar.com. Click on open pitch, fill out the caravan request form, and submit it no later than Tuesday midnight of the week that you want to pitch. Today, we have 3 listings featured. All right. First, we have Zerin Wang, Pinnacle Real Estate.
Morning, everyone. I have 2 listings coming up this weekend. Actually, it's already list active. So the first one is Pasadena. This one is located in the upgraded neighborhood, Chapman Woods. And it's great, it's in great location between Huntington and Rosemary Boulevard. And this is a 5-bedroom, 6 bathrooms featuring I'm sorry, 4,811 square foot, and our list price is $3,180,000. And my seller is very motivated, so please bring a buyer over and let's make a deal. I have a second one just listed yesterday. It's in Arcadia. This one is 2 baths and 2.5 bathrooms. And it spans an impressive 2,116 square footage. And both of the rooms are in suites, and it is located between Golden West and Fairview. So it's in great condition. And the community comes with the swimming pool and spa. So we have an open house this weekend from 2 to 5. And please bring your buyers. And looking forward to see everybody this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
The Arcadia HOA is about $400.
At this time, we want to welcome our guest speaker, Jared Duke, Business Development Manager and Director of Educational Outreach from Optimum Seismic. And a little bit about him, it says here, he's overseen the design and construction of over 200 commercial and multifamily retrofit projects. And over the previous 4 years, he's performed public outreach and education surrounding seismic resilience, really important here in California because of our earthquakes. All right.
Thank you very much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here and I appreciate all of this. Also, I'm really impressed with the entire organization that you have here. Seems like an excellent organization. This is my first time here, but I hope there are many other times that I can be involved in future events. Again, my name is Jared Duke. I'm the business development manager for Optimum Seismic. Optimum Seismic is an engineering and construction firm. We focus entirely, nearly entirely on seismic retrofitting of various building types. And what seismic retrofitting is, for those who don't know, is reinforcing existing structures that are potentially vulnerable to collapse in an earthquake. So we take this very seriously. We take our motivation very seriously. Our slogan for our company is making our city safer, and we really believe in that and try and follow through with that by providing education for those who may not be well aware of potential structural deficiencies in buildings that they're in every single day. I want to be as useful to everyone here as possible. So what we're talking about today is a few different building types that are vulnerable to collapse in an earthquake. Why, these may be buildings that you buy, sell, are brokering a sale of or own yourself. But just to give you an idea of a few of these types of buildings that have vulnerabilities. The first type of building, and this is something that I'm sure many of us, everyone here has probably seen, and even noticed the retrofit of, are unreinforced masonry buildings. These are brick buildings. These are buildings that are built usually prior to the 1990s in general speak. And you've probably seen that they have bolts on the exterior of many of these buildings. I'm sure they've been noticed. That's technically a seismic retrofit of bolting the walls to the diaphragm of the building to make sure that they don't collapse. Actually, in these cases, for buildings that are unreinforced masonry, there's a lot more that can be done to create a safety situation. Basically, the initial bolting that has happened since the mid-80s, between the mid-80s and now, was basically designed to buy time for exiting of the building so that people can get out. But it's not going to reinforce the building to a degree that's going to keep it standing necessarily. So something to think about on these types of buildings, not to start with scaring anyone, but this is the type of thing that may happen for unreinforced masonry buildings. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about unreinforced masonry buildings later on down the line. Let's move on to a few different building types just to highlight some of the structures that we're talking about. The concrete tilt-up buildings are, you might recognize, as normally typical warehouse structures. There's usually offices as well as mezzanine areas. But these are buildings where the walls are cast in place and then tilted up to be connected to the roof diaphragm of the building. And the typical deficiency with these buildings is that connection point can be insufficient in the case of lateral movement, and they can spread apart, causing collapse of the roof. So that's usually what we're looking at for these types of buildings. There could be other small deficiencies, bowing of the concrete, but that's typically what we're looking at. Non-ductile concrete buildings are a classification of building that is very important right now. There are numbers of ordinances in various cities requiring that these buildings be reinforced. These are buildings that are defined by insufficient rebar scheduling, or the locations of rebar are too far apart, causing a large area of non-ductility or rigidity that can collapse, like you see the buckling now. Right? Those two columns there are non-ductile concrete columns. So there's a reinforcement that can be done various ways of designing reinforcement for existing buildings. But as you see there, that building on the left, these are really beautiful buildings, unfortunately have this structural deficiency and are being addressed. There's a period of time that's allocated for these buildings in various cities to actually have these deficiencies addressed. But if you're dealing in a building that looks similar to something like you see on the left there, or potentially on the right, it's definitely something to look into. This is actually in Los Angeles, the timeline to address the issues for these types of buildings. We don't need to get into details, I don't think, on this specifically, but if you do have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me and I go through some more details on that. Now, the most common type of structure, and this is what I want to focus on for the majority of the talk here today, are soft story buildings. These are buildings that are characterized like you see here in the photos. They're characterized by openings, large openings on the bottom floor with units above. What this creates in many cases, if the building was built prior to updated building codes, is a lack of rigidity on the bottom floor, so that such that it will not be able to resist the lateral loads or the movement, the left and right movement of the weight of the floors above. This condition can exist in many different cases. This is the most common way of noticing it, where you have tucked under parking units above. But if you go into this can also be characterized in other types of structures. So this is a commercial structure where we have open window fronts for commercial or retail on the bottom floor, with units above, usually for offices. This is a very, very typical way of building in California generally, and is also considered a soft story building and often overlooked. So just to give you a visual image of, you know, various different types of structures that have potential deficiencies. And then here is a video to sort of illustrate what is the result of an earthquake on a building that does have a soft story condition. These are two structures. Both of them are built structurally as though they have soft stories. One of them has been retrofitted, and the other one has not. This is a large shake table test that was done in Japan. To give you an idea of scale, you can see the second or third floor above there with the people that are onlooking here. And this is meant to represent the movement of a 6.4 earthquake. So
Oh geez. Oh gosh.
too fine of a point on it, but this is exactly what was observed in the aftermath of the currently during the 94 Northridge earthquake, exactly. That was basically the impetus for a lot of the retrofit ordinances that were put in place subsequently, because it was observed that these were building type that was potentially deficient. And engineers immediately went to work trying to define what the exact issue was and then determine ways of reinforcing it. And at this point now, there's been thousands of projects completed in Los Angeles and greater Los Angeles area, actually throughout California, especially in Northern California around the San Francisco area. And it's very well understood how to reinforce these buildings quickly, easily, efficiently, and in a cost-effective way. These are just, you don't need to focus on this, but this is real world photos of what happened after the Northridge earthquake.
Wow.
Yeah, that entire portion of the building, yeah, was detached. What's beneath that is the opposite left picture, the collapsed parking area. I don't know if it's exactly that parking area, but it's an open parking area that fell down to a point where it actually detached the entire thing. One thing I want to highlight about soft story buildings is that they can be in any types of buildings. It's not just multifamily residential buildings that potentially have soft story conditions. Any type of building may have a soft story condition, including and up to steel moment frame buildings, but wood frame residential structures have been identified as soft story as well. And in fact, there's a program currently in place, which I can get into details if anyone has any questions about. It's called the ESS program. It's part of the California Earthquake Brace and Bolt program with the California Earthquake Authority. There's actually funding that's been made available in a pilot program for these particular types of single family homes that have soft story conditions. Right now it's, relegated to very specific zip codes, but hopefully if the program is a success, there will be more funding made available in longer terms, and we really hope to see that happen, because this on the right is something that can happen. That's okay, you can move on. This is just a little bit of information about the California, they call it the California Residential Mitigation Program. And there's a specific division called Earthquake Soft Story, which is ESS. And there are 4 different types of structures that are identified as part of the program, and available fundings are made for those. The amount of funding that's available is up to $13,000 in the case of determining that they are part of the program. I'm not going to go down. I know we don't have a whole lot of time. I don't want to take up too much time with specific information, but various ordinances have timelines available to them. You can actually go ahead and skip through this one. This is a timeline for the LA ordinance for multifamily residential buildings, basically given a timeline of 7 years in total to complete a retrofit of a building that's been identified as soft story and in need of that. You can go ahead and skip a couple probably here. Well, let's go back one, I'm sorry. Quickly, in Pasadena specifically, as one of the more recent cities to adopt an ordinance requiring multifamily residential buildings that have a soft story condition to be retrofitted. And so they have also a 7-year total compliance timeline. They updated a 4-year compliance timeline for submitting plans for the retrofit. Just to give you a quick idea of that, but we can go ahead and skip. These are, every city has their own timelines. They're very similar in structure, although every city, depending on how many buildings are impacted, has a different overall time. Really important to talk about, I think we actually talked on this, is why have the building seismically retrofitted? Well, there's a massive amount of liability in California. And actually you can skip to the next. This is the mention that I was going to come back to unreinforced masonry buildings. And the reason that I want to come back to these buildings is that there was a collapse of a particular building. This is the Acorn building in Paso Robles. This collapse led to a lawsuit, which is a precedent-setting lawsuit in California. The result of this lawsuit is extremely important. And that result is essentially classifying these situations, instead of being an act of God or force majeure, they are now considered owners' negligence, were owners not to be proactive in understanding whether or not there is a deficiency in their building that may or may not result in injury or loss of life. That's considered negligence now in California and set by precedent. So this is something to be very aware of. This applies to all building types. However, the particular building here was a unreinforced masonry building. And I won't go into the details of the liability inquiry paradigms. I don't have a whole lot of time, but this is essentially, and if you want any more information on this, essentially the paradigm that were there to be an accident and a lawsuit would ensue, they would request that the jury consider these items in judgment of the case. These are details about seismic retrofitting process itself. And if you have any questions about that, I know I don't have a whole lot of time. We can go into that with you if you want to reach out to us and explain exactly what that process looks like. And also I should mention that if you are a member here, we're more than happy to provide free on-site consultations. So we have somebody come out, take a look at the building, give you an idea of whether or not it may have a deficiency that can be addressed. Hazardous materials testing is something that has to happen in California for any time stucco is removed or disturbed. Very important, but probably not something particularly interesting today. We can move on to the next. Actually, move a couple more slides. That's highlighting the seismic retrofit process. This is a finished product of a seismic retrofit that took place on a fairly large structure. There was a moment frame installed. New foundation is always needs to be installed. Most importantly, the second floor line of the building needs to be opened in its entirety and tied together so that all of that load can be distributed to the new lateral load resisting system and remove that lateral load from the existing gravity load bearing structures, which are not up to current codes and do not incorporate the ability to resist lateral forces. This is another completed project. This is a project that actually is much larger than you can see here, but a very small portion of it has been photographed. This has an additional cross bracing, and there's a lot of interesting reasons that is the case, but the owner of this building was one of the very first to address their seismic issue, and this is in the valley, actually. Very early on, I think this was a 2016 project. He was very happy about this project, wanted to leave it exposed rather than frame it and hide it in the building, so that he could show his future tenants and current tenants that the building was structurally sound. And he's used this to attract new occupants of his building ever since. He wanted us to paint it the same color as the Golden Gate Bridge, and so that's what we did. Yeah, that's good. This is a nice building. We have this photo here because we did the finishing work on this to sort of match the aesthetic of the building. This is a building directly behind the Troubadour in West Hollywood. And those two columns in the center there on either side of that center garage bay are the columns that are installed. All of the rest of the work is hidden behind in the framing there. And, you know, it's kind of here to show that the aesthetics of the building can be taken into account and still be made structurally safe. This is just another example of a completed project. Not a very beautiful one. Another project in process here. A large moment frame being installed. You can see that bracing the channel, the steel channel that runs along the second floor line of the building is what's called a drag strut. It's a collector in a lot of ways of energy. So it's tying that together. The new framing behind it, which you can't see in a lot of the clippings of interior framing, you can't see, but essentially what that is tying the second floor together and distributing that load to the new columns. I think we can probably move a little bit more forward and leave it open to actually questions, I think, at this point, if anyone has anything specific that it can be useful to you. We do get calls constantly from brokers asking us in situations where there's a building that is identified already as seismically unsound, especially in cities where there's an ordinance in place, even where there isn't, what that cost of that is going to be, and provide that information so that they can use that information to then negotiate price. Really important to do that ahead of time if you are selling a building, so that you are in control of that information and don't end up with an inflated number that's being used to negotiate against the building. That makes sense. So we do have an apartment management partnership program for anyone. Again, it essentially involves a site visit to whatever site you're interested in finding out more information of, providing that information to you. And if you are apartment management in that capacity, essentially providing information to the owner in the form of a letter directly, which you can keep on file, and essentially limit your own liability and have taken care of your fiduciary responsibility to yours, just the process. But as I said, we are open for questions, anything that you may have. If you'd like, we have Guillermo Whiteman, my colleague here. You can speak to him on the way out. And he can work with you to schedule a time to visit the sites if you'd like to, or just stay in touch and provide any information that you may need.
Thank you, Jared. Very informative presentation. One question is, how do we find more information about the grants?
More information about the grants, you can contact us, but you can also check if you go to the California Brazen Bolt website or the Earthquake Authority, California Earthquake Authority, you'll be able to access that information. As I said, it was a pilot program that actually, unfortunately, just closed their enrollment period. But hopefully, if we see success in the program, and it seems like there were very many people who applied and are working with it, we'll see future larger scale deployment of that financial help. It's all being done through FEMA funding as of now. The California Brace and Bolt, if you Google that, or if you go to the California Earthquake Authority, you can find information on how that program works, and hopefully we'll see it rekindled soon.
Thank you, very informative. In addition to the complete structural, you happen to have a service that comes out and does the patio balcony certifications that we have to do every 5 years?
We absolutely do, yes. We've been doing quite a lot of these inspections per the SB 721 bill that are required for multifamily. Anything over, I think, 2 or 3 units, anything over 3 units does require what they call exterior elevated elements to be inspected by 2025. We absolutely provide that service. Yeah.
I just wanted to let the audience know that there are some bags with information over here that Optimum Seismic has brought with them. I don't know if any of that information that you just discussed is in there, but there could be links or something that they might want. I wanted to focus just real quickly on the liability. I mean, cities have mostly gone out, they've deemed buildings vulnerable, they've kept the list to themselves, then they notify owners. A lot of owners don't want to go through the retrofit, so instead they'll sell their buildings, so they list their buildings. So there's a disclosure issue here, is there not?
Yes.
And could a realtor be liable if that information is not disclosed to the buyer?
That is very much, it's very much a potential. So basically, as a realtor or anyone who's brokering a sale of the property that may have a potential deficiency, you very well may be held liable as in basically by occupying a trusted advisory type of role. It's very possible. I don't think that there's been any litigation in this case for that exact circumstance at this point. However, it would follow logically from people that I've spoken to, lawyers that are experts in this particular area, that it's very much possible. We also haven't seen a large scale earthquake in quite some time, and so there haven't been a lot of instances in which that may be tested. However, I would err on the side of caution that the liability in California for these is extraordinary. By the way, the cost of the lawsuit for the 2013 case in Paso Robles was, I think it was $2 million a head, I believe, or it was $2 million in total and $1 million per person who was unfortunately killed in that collapse. That was in 2013. And I would expect that number to be quite a bit larger.
Thank you very much for your presentation today. It was very good. Another question. I saw the slide of the soft foundation. How would you know if you have issues with your foundation? Because we sell real estate every day. And sometimes we do home inspections. And the home inspector will go underneath the property, especially I'm talking about like classroom home or early homes that was built in early 1900. So how would you know as a real estate agent that we have a foundation issue, or we have a soft building, you call it, and a commercial building? Because from the outside, it doesn't show us anything. I mean, it's a building, it's standing right there, it's fine, right? So how would we tell if the property has an issue with structure or a foundation that you have shown us the picture that will collide or collapse when we have a major earthquake?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's not in very many cases, it's not very observable whether or not you have a structural deficiency. The thing to do is to call and consult with an engineer. Have an engineer come out. If you're talking about specifically a crawl space area or triple walls, essentially raised foundation building. Someone needs to come out. It actually, in those cases, doesn't necessarily need to be an engineer. It can be a general contractor as well. There are very many that are qualified to evaluate those situations. And what they'll be looking for is whether or not there is proper bolting. So the sill plate is called. It's to the foundational wall. There could also be some additional need for plywood sheathing in order to resist and create shear walls where otherwise you would have cripple walls. But essentially the answer to the question is have someone come out and inspect, crawl under the building. Yeah, we can give you information. This isn't something that we particularly do, but we do have partners that do that, and I can give you their information, or we can even be happy to coordinate something like that for you. Those are usually free consultations as well, in most cases. Yeah.
Good morning. Great presentation. Thank you for that. I just want to share the importance. I mean, I'm going to invite you over to come over to my house. I'm worried now. However, I do want to share with the group here that the importance of this. I have a client in Pasadena, and her house was shifting a little bit. But she says, I've been living here all this time, Sylvia. There's nothing wrong with my house. So I asked her, I said, what has changed? She says, oh, I had a new cabinet person come in and do a new kitchen. I said, but why is your kitchen tilting? I'm kind of standing at an angle. And then she says, oh, it's an old house. And I said, okay, I get that. So I was more inquisitive, long story short. I asked her to just call some people and check her foundation. So we had 3 resources come out. She chose the shortcut area. So someone that'll come in on the weekend when the city's not open, take care of it for a very minimal amount of money. Well, now her whole kitchen is sideways. So I guess the moral to the story here is that I want to share is the importance to not shortcut yourself when it comes to the foundation and the roof of your home. So I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for mentioning that. And actually, in a typical presentation that we'll give, we'll go through some of that information too, and why it's so important to do to really address the process properly, which is just briefly a design, bid, build process. So what we're looking at is you want to have someone out to evaluate the structure itself and engineer design plans based on load calculations specific to that building, and go through a plan check process with the city so that you understand that is going to be the scope of work necessary to reinforce properly. Once plans are prepared and approved, that would be the time to collect bids for the construction work. It's a very small cost on the front end for engineering, and it's the proper way and cost driving element of the projects, whatever scale the project may be, including brace. And I mentioned any many general contractors, not any general contractor, but many general contractors can come out and give you an idea of whether or not a building needs to be braced for raised foundation. That is not the case for soft story buildings. It's a different classification. However, you do want to make sure that these whoever you do bring out goes through that process properly of engineering, design, and then will allow you to collect bids for construction. Very important.
The last question. So just for clarification, from the time a work order is submitted to the time it's completed, is it 7 years? Is it from year 1 and it's went to year 7? So is that how long it takes to retrofit?
It is not. So those are the deadlines that are imposed by various cities that have requirements for different building types to be retrofitted. So they give a maximum of 7 years, for instance, in Los Angeles to complete a retrofit. Those other timelines are the date necessary to have submitted plans to the city and have plans approved, and then they give you another period of time to complete. Where you'd actually go through a retrofit process quickly and efficiently, what you're looking at is essentially about 3 months of engineering time. And were you to move forward, you're looking at, in most cases, 6 to 8 weeks of construction to complete full retrofit of a soft storage structure. This is not the case for on-ductile concrete buildings, for instance. That time horizon is 20 years for a reason. It takes quite a lot of engineering up front for buildings of that type. Brace and bolt, I'm sorry, brace and bolt can also be taken care of much more quickly than, for instance, a soft story building. However, that 3 months of engineering is in accounting for a plan check process with the city. The engineering itself really doesn't take that long, but once submitted to the city, you're basically at their mercy. Yeah.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you so much. So that's the last of the questions. That's all the time we have for the questions. But I also wanted to thank Seismic. Jared and his team had provided today's breakfast of Portos. So we thank you for them. And we do apologize to all our members for limiting your pastry pick to one. We come from good intentions. We just want to make sure that there is enough to go around for everybody that has attended. Of course, if we have extras at the end, welcome to take another. Thank you so much.
That was hello there. That was a great presentation, really informative. I myself, I teach appraisal, so I found it incredibly interesting. So many of us, you know, we have houses that are old and we really need services like that. So I want to thank you a lot on behalf of the West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. So now help me welcome, please, Jim Clark to the West San Gabriel Valley Realtors, Government Affairs Directors. All right, we're going to introduce our special guest speaker.
Well, I know somebody had the magic touch last week, but anyway. Hey, good to see you again, Jim Clark, your Government Affairs Director here at the West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. I just want to remind you that we're doing a focus on the 25th State Senate District, which is an open seat, which covers the entire association service territory. And there are 4 what we consider viable candidates for that seat right now. And today we're going to have the first candidate, and then we'll do in succession the rest of them over the next 3 meetings. But today I want to introduce Yvonne Yu, who is currently a city council member from the city of Monterey Park, and she is running for that Senate seat. I'd like to bring her up here to tell us about herself and a little bit about her campaign. Welcome, Yvonne.
Hello, everyone. First of all, it's my great honor to be invited to your breakfast meeting. And this is Yvonne Yu. I'm former mayor, councilwoman of City of Monterey Park, and running for California State Senate, District 25. I wanted to say, people ask me, why do you want to be a politician? I said, my life is full of ups and downs. And I feel the pain of most of the people sitting here. And I wanted to utilize my experience to speak for you and hope to be a better public servant. I came from Hong Kong when I was 16, a year after my father passed away. I actually went from a wealthy family, a daddy's girl from a wealthy family, all the way down to single parent family, getting financial aid. I feel the pain of those who came from the single parent family. I'm an immigrant. I started learning English when I was 16. And I feel the pain of those immigrants. We work so hard, but it's always left behind. And I worked so hard in high school, I obtained top 2%. I went to UCLA and I graduated in 3 years. But sometimes I feel like, don't stretch yourself too much. One night in college, I wanted to commit suicide. And when I was ready to cut, a phone call rang. So it saved me. And I feel the pain of those teenagers. They have emotional stress or mental health. And when I start working, I remember the client told me that he couldn't understand my English. So I feel left out. And I worked so hard again, but not to a point where I stretch myself too much. After 15 years, I obtained my dream job. I became the regional manager at Merrill Lynch, managing 5 branches, 53 financial advisors, and 4 billion assets. I travel around the world first class. That's my dream job. I want to retire there. But guess what? Subprime crisis hit, and I got laid off. I feel the pain of those who are unemployed. And after that, I want to start my own business. I started a broker-dealer. And I started for 10 years. And the first 5 years, I can tell you, I worked so hard again. I obtained 10 more FINRA licenses. I went to Wharton Business School and I got a destinations in compliance professional. I captured all the opportunity, but still, I couldn't make it. I saw my saving account depleted. I almost went bankrupt. Lost my marriage. I lost my self-esteem. But I heard a voice telling me that to hang in there, your opportunity is coming. And so I hang in there. Right after I passed the 5th year, all the opportunities start to come back. And I start giving myself a salary, and then start to give myself a pay raise, and then start to get bonus. And after 10 years, I decided to retire. I don't want to take more chances because I'm afraid my luck will be gone after 10 years. But I know that opportunities is for those who are well prepared. And so now I'm a public servant. I want to utilize my knowledge and dreams to help those who have challenged to achieve American dreams. And people ask, why State Senate? And so after being a Monterey Park Councilwoman, I solved a lot of problems for the city. I saved the city $55 million and issuing a pension obligation bonds and save a lot of money to repair all the streets. And so I want to take that level to the state. And there's two reasons I wanted to run. And one is to remember a recent Monterey Park mass shooting. I almost attended that event. I'm a good friend with Teacher Ma, and he's the first one being shot. And if I sit right next to Teacher Ma, I'm sure I will be one of the victims. And then I feel like I'm that close of being killed. And if I still have a voice, I want to raise awareness for gun control reforms and mental health. And second is the API representation. Currently in State Senate, we have 40 seats. And for the API population, excluding the Middle Eastern, I would say, it's 16%. So for the 40 seats, we're supposed to have 6 seats that represent API, right? And guess what? In 2024, we have 0. And I'm not asking for fair representation. I'm just asking for some representation. So hopefully people learn about inclusion, and hopefully I will be a candidate for the district. And last but not least, I want to say I'm also very big into pro-housing and pro-business, because I believe buying a house is to achieve American dreams. When people ask me, how can you retire early? And how can people achieve American dreams? I would say yes, to buy a house. Because one word, leverage. I love the word leverage. I calculate that all the time. There's nothing in the world compared to the leverage that you buy from property. Imagine that you put, let's say, 10% down payment. And if the housing market goes up 10% a year, you double your return. I've seen nothing in the stock markets can do that. And so I teach people to start buying a house. And if you own one, and you will be easily own 2 and 3 and 4 and then 4. So that's how I wanted to advocate for women, for immigrants, for community of colors, and for those who have challenges to achieve American dreams. So thank you so much for having me today. Thank you.
Lovely presentation. Thank you for sharing all those very personal details about your life. Congratulations for the success. All right. Attendance drawing. All West San Gabriel Valley Realtor members are included in the attendance drawing, but not all can be displayed. Today our pot is at $550. If you don't get a winner, $25 gets added to the pot each week until someone wins. Pot will begin again at $25 when someone wins. If for our last breakfast meeting of the year, we still don't have a winner, we will draw a lucky winner at that time. The winner must be in person at the association and also be a West San Gabriel Realtor member to win. When your name is called, you must announce that you are present. If we call your name 3 times and you don't respond, we move on, no exceptions. Amy Tilo. Amy Tilo. 3rd time. Amy Tilo. Amazon gift card drawing. We'll select 3 winners from those attending in person. Each will receive $25. Sue Chan. Sue, come up. All right, now we have Emmy Chiruchi. Emmy, the last one. Stephanie Lee. Stephanie. Classes. A list of the upcoming classes displayed on the screen. The Lone Wolf Transactions Zip Forms Edition training, Monday, August the 14th at 9:30 to 12:30. That's a real good one, by the way. Meet and learn, title red flag, escrow and red flag, and real estate fraud. The cost is free, both of those, $45 DRE license renewal, continuing education. Webinar Friday, August the 18th, 9:30 to 12:30. That cost is $85. And then we have how to streamline land entitlement process and ADU process. Tuesday, August the 22nd, 11 to 12 noon. That one is also free. All right. Then we have MLS breakfast announcement at the Lena Sanctuary, area Tri-County and affiliate mixer.
So let's do affiliate mixer. Hi, Lena Sankari. So I am this year affiliate chair. And on behalf of the Western Gabriel Water Realtors and the affiliates, we would like to thank all of you for your continued support. So, and we're looking forward to, we strongly encourage you to use the service of our affiliates. The reason why we are here, because all of you, right? We are here with resources and we are always here to answer any questions that you have. So as a token of appreciation, we are having affiliate mixer. Bring out your phone, please mark on your calendar. I don't see anyone with a phone. Turn on your calendar, mark on your calendar. It's gonna be a great event, August 24 at Bro Fusion. The address is on there in Sierra Madre from 4 to 8 p.m. So there will be appetizers, drinks. Everyone is welcome. It's free admission, and we are looking forward to see all of you. Anyone mark calendar August 24? Don't put down the phone yet. We have another event. So on behalf of Aria Tri-County, it is next Thursday, August 17th at 5 p.m. ADU and Airbnb is a great hot topic, right? So we'll be discussing about that. Aria Tri-County members or any chapter sisters are free of charge. Non-members is $20. $20 is, I know everyone think it's some cost, but it's knowledge doesn't cost you, right? So you're always grow with that small amount of money. What else? So the location will be at Jen's Box in City of Industry. Please make sure to register. The flyers are out there at the events. Both events have the flyers outside. We are looking forward to see all of you to both events. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We also are going to hear from Kenny Lynn. Kenny Lynn.
Good morning. Here to pitch my listing. 1882 Hazelman Road at El Sereno is located in University Hill area, very close to South State LA. There's 2-bedroom, 1 bath, limited floor throughout the living room and bedrooms. There's another 2-bedroom, 1 bath downstairs unit with pocket basement, designed by the previous owner without permit. So we are open house today until 2 p.m. Welcome to come. Refreshment will be served. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a little gift that we want to give Chad. Thank you for all you've done and for making that wonderful presentation. All right, we take a picture. They want to put a picture? Yes, please. There we go. Thank you very much, Jared. All right. We have a 50-50 raffle. Melissa? It's all the money. All right. 50. All right. $55 goes to 1911 979 if they're here. 1911 979. Winner. Thank you. Now we have another one.
No, that's it.
Good. All right. At this time, if you submitted an announcement form, please come up, make your announcement. You have 30 seconds for your pitch.
No, that's
If
been
you
done.
did. All right, no announcements. All right,
We're done.
so you have 30 seconds if you're gonna pitch. Would you please come up?
No.
Your listing has to be active, now the MLS. No,
Done that already.
okay. Well, what do we have here? All right, okay, please. All right, please join us next week, August 17th, as we will welcome Patty Richard, property management consultant. Her topic, landlord tenant rights. And thank you, everyone. All right, learning as we go. Sorry for the oops. Have a great day. More stacks out there.